Hello, good people. My name is Janice, and welcome to Dignity. Today is particularly special for me because today I celebrate 10 years as a breast cancer survivor. And this being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I thought I'd share my story with you. The story touches on Articles 3 and 26 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which refers to life, liberty, and a decent standard of living. So let me take you back to February 2007. I noticed that my left shoulder was becoming stiff. I had developed frozen shoulder. Went to check it out at the doctor, who suggested I get surgery for bone spur, and I went to a second opinion because I didn't want the surgery. That doctor suggested that I not get this surgery, but rather go to physical therapy, which I did. And I gained some of the mobility back in my arm. But the following month, I noticed that I had a lump on the side of my left breast underneath my arm. And I remember thinking, well, my neighbor told me that she felt her lump and didn't do anything for 6 months. So I have time, I'm good. I don't have to worry about it. Fast forward to September, and I noticed that lump it was in the back of my mind. I can't say I forgot about it. But I was in the shower when I noticed that the lump had gotten huge in such a short amount of time, which gave me cause for alarm, finally. And I was looking for a new doctor. I found a new doctor. I made the call. I had a 1 month wait. I show up in October, and he takes me into the office after examining me, and he says, wait right here. I'm going to make this call. I want you to listen. He made an appointment for me he didn't even give me a referral and tell me to call. He made the call and said he wanted me to have imaging done right away. I was happy about the appointment because it was on a date. It was scheduled for a day that I had planned on taking off anyway from work because I was going to a meeting in Hudson Valley. And so that morning I figured I could go in the morning, get this imaging done, and then shoot up to Hudson Valley for the weekend. So I get to the imaging center, and I noticed that the technician something is going on because she's like hemming and hawing to herself in thought. Though I could see those wheels spinning in her head and tapping of the fingers on the machine, and she was trying to position me a certain way, and she seemed to be struggling. And then when she was done, she said, wait here. She didn't say get dressed. She said, wait here. So I'm thinking, I have someplace to go. I'm not waiting here all afternoon. So about 15 minutes passed, and nobody came in. Nobody told me anything, so I got dressed to walk out. The woman who wound up taking the sonogram comes flying down the hall behind me. Please wait. We need to give you a sonogram because it looks like your readings show lymph node involvement. I said, look, I have some place to go. I promise you, and I was sincere when I said this, I promise you I'll be back on Monday. No, please, let me just take one sonogram on the left side. I said, okay, you have 5 minutes. 5 minutes, later, I'm out the door. I had a glorious time that weekend. Glorious. But what I did do on my way up was text a friend and ask her what she knew about breast cancer and lymph node involvement, because I was clueless at that point. So come Monday morning, before I even get to walk out of the house to go to work, I get this call from the doctor's office telling me to call one of two physicians. I was like, I don't know why I need to call these people. I don't know who these people are. I'm not calling them. So I called my friend who I had text on the way up to Hudson Valley, and she said that her contact person at Sloan Kettering wanted to see me the next day. So I go, and lo and behold, I have cancer. Now, I didn't even know black women could get breast cancer because I didn't know of any black women who had breast cancer. All I know is that 30 years prior, when women were told to start examining their breasts, that I should look for something that feels like pee. I never felt a pee. I just felt something that didn't feel like I never felt before. And that's what any woman who is watching this, when you feel something that doesn't feel familiar, get it checked out. Don't waste 6 months. Don't waste 5 months. Don't waste 1 month. Get it checked out as soon as possible. It might be cancer. It might not be cancer. But if it is cancer, you want to know right away. Because when I walked into Sloan Kettering, they weren't sure what stage I was. They were able to ascertain that I wasn't stage 4 based on my scans, but the lump under my arm was so big and so painful, they really couldn't get an assessment as to whether it had started to cling to my bone. So my pathology report came back and I was stage 2. I only had one lymph node involved, but had lost 25 lymph nodes because that mass under my arm was so big and so painful. It looked as though it could possibly be all my lymph nodes. It was contained in one. There was no breakage. And because the frozen shoulder had been on that same side, my oncologist told me that my body intuitively knew not to let that cancer spread, which is why I am able to sit in front of this camera and tell you this story now. So when I had to take chemo, I was fortunate. I didn't need to do radiation. I was in a waiting room with other women, and people were making, well, they weren't friends for life sort of thing, but people were sharing all kinds of intimacies. And my attitude was, I'm not sharing anything. I'm going to get treatment and go home. I'm not here to make friends. I don't want to make friends, not based on cancer. What I was wise to do was participate in a support group, because it was in that group that really helped me to heal. The treatment addresses you physically, but there's an emotional and a spiritual component that goes to healing. And the women in that room helped me to open up, to share, to heal. They had my back. They supported me. We supported each other emotionally and physically. If anybody had to go back into the hospital for any reason, we were there to support one another. Unfortunately, we did lose one of our group, and we all took it hard. But we're still friends today. We still get together. We still celebrate one another. We still inspire one another. And we're all coming up on 10 years. Right after I finished treatment in 2008, I came across an article that talked about how women in Kenya, when they get diagnosed with cancer, they just sit around and wait to die. And although it took me 18 months to listen to a social worker tell me that I was going to survive before I began to believe it, because I had actually begun planning my funeral, it shook me to my core, because the reason why they were waiting to die was because they didn't have access to the kind of health care that those of us in the Western world have. However, and I'll post a link to this series below, it's called Shifting the Burden, if my memory is correct. Something to that effect. And it talks about breast cancer and how it impacts people in low-income countries today. And the picture is still a grim one. Even a rich person in Kenya risks falling into poverty because treatment is so expensive. However, the good news is that the American Cancer Society partnered with the Clinton Health Access Initiative to collaborate with pharmaceutical companies and provide discounted chemotherapy treatment so that chemotherapy for breast cancer will be more affordable, primarily in the eastern region of sub-Saharan Africa. So as we enjoy the advances of modern medicine in this country and in the Western world, I look forward to a time when everyone can enjoy and afford the kind of treatment that has saved my life. So comment below, remember to subscribe and click like and hit the bell. I'm going to take the best comment below and feature it in a future video. Until then,